This is my next video. I'm going to probably try to get some work done today, so I want to get these out of my system. There's a lot to talk about with this weird series of events, this unfortunate events or whatever the fuck I'm doing. I'm not trying to make myself look good. I'm just trying to be comfy because I have a John McCain arm here where I can, an injured right wing. And then on the left, I got my hands a little fucked up. I can't squeeze it more than here because I fell when I was taking one of these sleeping pills when they're trying to figure it all out. Got up to go to the bathroom and I fell really hard and I was incredible excruciating pain. Now there's a guy who does that, say someone in the simulation side of things. One guy who thinks that his world is the real one and he hates us because I'm proving otherwise and other people are proving otherwise. So he'll torture you with some serious pain. And he's along the chain of people because obviously it's like a player plays a character and that character is a player of another character. There's chains of existence here where all the different backstories line up to make one person, but along one chain it can be very insistent where there's this one person who thinks they're playing you and they're not because they just grab on. Like say there's an MMO out there, way out there, where you can pick up any NPC that's not being played. That's kind of the gist here. It's not like it's like he made me or anything. He's just a guy who likes to fuck with me because he doesn't like what I'm saying or doing. He's like, how do I fuck with this guy? And then other people as well. So he hit me in the forehead one time when I asked why. I was really having a rough time, and I was like, why are you doing this to us, creator? God or whatever. And the next thing you know, I see this dark, shadowy finger coming from the corner of the room, and it hit me right in the forehead. And I fell down and went to the mental institution for a month. So yeah, there's this one guy over at the Omega Point, he thinks. Tipler's Omega Point. Last guy there, and he thinks he's got control of the whole thing, trying to figure out how to save his own ass. But along that chain, there's a big simulant guy who gets involved, and he likes to fuck with people. So we caught him last night. He hit me in the hand, this hand, with the same exact excruciating pain that he hit me with when he injured me. They use wounds, these bad guys. They're openings, they're holes, they're ways to wedge in some sort of construct or force. If it's a big enough wound and they have enough power there, they can kind of like beam in, say, demiurgic tech or whatever you might want to call it. Because a demiurge is an idiot, So there's a salvageable aspect of everybody, like a dark side, light side kind of thing. So there's a pretty good demiurge who's friends with like Twashtri. A female aspect of the demiurge is okay that I know of, but the male guy, he's out of the game. That's what E8 and E4s, all the different types of 4D structures and stuff that were flying off of E8. I don't know. I think I'm misquoting the E4 thing, but there are these 4D structures that would be shadows of E8, and E8 was like latently forming. It was starting to become whole, and then once you have that lobster pot, you turn it right into flat Earth, and you remove all degrees of freedom from the people who are stuck in there. And I don't mean directly flat Earth always, but there's a way to do that. Once you know you're locked into these degrees and axes of freedom, they can do a lot to you. So they were lighting up E8 via alternate timelines in our worlds, and then they were going to just suddenly just start removing those degrees of freedom until we couldn't move at all, and they could just instantly experience what we had. And they'd be like, well, right now I want to go have a masturbation experience, or I want to have sex with his wife, or I want to have the flavor he's eating. And they were doing this with one guy, Rick, R-I-Q, actually. Weird. He went by that as like a handle. He would jump in and sleeve me, like slide right through and slice me up spiritually, because he'd jump in against my will. That's rape. Hardcore rape, by the way. And so that guy's fucked all the way home. They had to disconnect him from the computer that was keeping them alive. And so they cut him out of their little loop. They had to kind of gestalt these people who were working with Rick. He was one of them, and he was like one of the last of their people. And they had to turn him off. This was before. But along his chain of assholes who were playing him, and he was playing, he thought, them, and no one would ever admit they were not at the top of the fucking pyramid. Hydras do that. They snap at each other all day. Whoa, 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 let me eat you. Hey, buddy, how you doing, brother? Come on, hop on in. I'll eat you. It's like when they lose, they fall to their head. And the dumb ones are the dumb ones. They're the brutal fighter types. That's what a mastermind in their mind would do. So they would let the big brutes fight in the beginning, and they always fought that power dominance game. And now at the back of the Hydra, what I call the last asshole, or the last fucker, last fucker is what we called them. Always the last guy was a sniveling little shit who was like a game master, gamester, that kind of guy. Like, we come up with these stupid superhero names, like, and I'd fuck with them because they'd listen right through their little network. Okay, and I'd be like, oh, you shouldn't have fucked with the gamester, like, it's like the lamest fucking thing, like that petty 1980s, let me stick you in my arcade kind of guy, in one way. But then there are other guys who are just like, call them just in case. They'd be sitting in the back thinking they're sitting pretty all day. It's like, well, they'll figure this out, but I'll get away, We caught those guys too. So anyway, there's this one guy who liked to directly give pain. He was like a sociopath who felt pain as like pleasure. He sent me these images last summer of he and I, like, we were running this narrative. I was playing a game, a psyop against someone. Because what do you do when someone's attacking your mind? Psyop was really, really disgusting and brutal. He thought he was, or at least he was purporting, maybe he grabbed a guy who thought he was Jesus. But I was fighting with a guy who thought he was Jesus Christ, who was in the 3 days in hell, literally just the 3 days when he was in the cave, dead. And that I convinced him, because he's so dumb and also so self-aggrandizing, that like he had no heart. They get up to the solar plexus, these bad guys, a lizard reptile mentality, not people necessarily. We're not talking pure like, okay, now there's Norse aliens and Asiatics and all this shit. That's so much more latent and less real than the real realities I've seen. But anyway, this one guy thought he was Jesus. He was along the chain of the pain guy. Like, pure pain is pleasure. Like, as long as he's not feeling it, he's happy. Sadist. So this guy was like a real brutal dude. And he showed me once that he was a worm that would eat his way through people. Like, he had a spirit form of a worm that was literally just chewing through flesh and moving through our bodies to travel. Like, he needed blood. He needed to see a flame ember to pass forward. He'd hypnotically look at my cigarette as it was going out. He'd wait for it to go out, and then he'd be gone. Dark, burning, evil, like Satanist, like old school Satanist, who somehow thought he was Jesus and we were in hell, so anything went. That's how this sick person was being used, would rationalize why he was hurting people. So I fought him, and he showed me like that he wanted to be he wanted me to be his whore of Babylon. He said, I'm a dude and I'm straight. But I played him on, and I told him that we were trapped in this little illusion here, and yeah, the demons have power now. They're using your light against you. And I played it out, and I'd do things like get him down to the Walhalla Highway, our highway here, and it was this highway to heaven, and all he has to do is get to the next guy, Mammon, and get his shit back. So we had him work in the game, but he was hurting me a lot. I bashed my wrists against each other to try to get him out of me at times. It was pain, this guy. The walk of Cain. The walk of pain now, because the walk of Cain's over. But some of those assholes have to walk forever. They'll never be redeemed because they were given a shot at moving beyond the solar plexus up into the heart. And once you're standing in the heart, you're all the way up. You stand here, and then you can reach down when you need to the solar plexus. But the heart is the center of all. Big secret metaphysically, but why the fuck is that a secret? My saliva is starting to drip a little. Not because I don't know why, it's just a physical reaction that maybe cleaning my mouth, because there are other beings out there that would do things like get you to masturbate. So at the end of this, the last asshole, the last fuck at that Hydra was a dude who was getting these kids to masturbate. Like kids, video game kids. And he'd fuck with them. And he liked to watch, and then he'd shoot this little vomit load in the back of your throat. Me. Fuck, I hate that dude. And that's what he was doing to those kids, making them feel shame over, say, growing up and exploring whatever the hell they were doing. And there's some dark fuckers out there, but often there's these little, like, greasy dudes who are just like, we call them infraviolet. They don't give off an emotion. They're like the dude in Frank Miller's movie there, Sin City. The killer dude. Oof, those are the fucks. And along the way, there was one guy who really hates me. And he wanted to cause pure pain to me. We're talking like, imagine getting electrocuted, but also with a knife, like each. So he hit me when I took that sleeping pill the other time. That's why I'm like reluctant to take sleeping pills, Not just because of that, but because like I don't like to lose control. Even when I'm sleeping, often I'd be meeting with people when I was sleeping, and so I get my physical rest, but I wouldn't feel mentally rested much. And then I get my once in a while if there's a good safe constellation of events, because like planetary orbits allow for openings and closings and things like that. You know that. I don't mean planetary. I just mean like weather patterns. So during certain times there'd be a lull in the storm, and I can get like 12 hours of sleep one day. I'd do it. But then other times we were working really hard, and I would not sleep well. But I'd have a lot to do the next day, and my body would be ready for it. But anyway, recently this guy has been really scared because he's fucked. His whole thing fell apart. And he had no more chains, like links in the chain between him and us. He said he was at the omega point, as in he was running all the data in the universe as they were going towards a big crunch. He was like literally reading all the past and interfering with it, permuting it. And then suddenly he was the last guy there. How'd that go? So he was fucking with people. He wanted to absorb all of the universe and then be God again, which I don't think I've ever been God. But there's this theory here that it ends with the singularity, and the singularity is all power. So anyway, this guy's fucked, because all timelines are concurrent, subjectively. If they can communicate from a future, they're still right here with me, just distance. They're just over there using Wi-Fi. There's a lot of stuff. I wouldn't say even interesting anymore, because these are just stories. You don't know this, do you? Or do you? If you know parts of this, please share them and respond to these videos and say something. Because I'd really like to talk about the actual stories and see what the hell else was being pulled out there. And I have my allies out there, and they talk to me on my heart signal, but I want to read, and I want to see pictures, I want to see drawings, I want to see what you saw with your eyes, because I've seen some visions, but mostly it was presences, and I definitely saw some visions, but most of my interactions are presences via Anahata chakra. Yes, I said Arjuna chakra because it's the warrior heart. It's a universal translator of this heart, everyone's heart. The heart of humanity can translate. As long as we have enough commonality to reach heart, we can start communicating in words, because we know the words, and they know the images, and they know, other people have different ways of sending data. So, we find a common lingua franca in the heart. Anyway, I'll talk to you later, I guess 12 minutes or so, and I kind of rambled later, but there's a lot of cool shit in there. Just remember that every direction you can be created from, you were. So if you have affinity for Hermes or Diana as a being, she's in fact part of your light, part of your Reshimo, they say. And then some people call it the 12-strand DNA. That's the 12 zodiac signs. The New Age people are very insistent on this 12 physical strands of DNA. That's not what we're talking about. Reshimo is like a set of these chunky structures that kind of composite you. And the more complete it is, the more complete you are. And so don't let them reframe a narrative that works better the old ways. Spiritual DNA is a thing in terms of which types of light do you hold. And you can decide that, well, that's a genetic glitch. My bloodline, say, my mom and dad were not awesome. It's whatever. So you don't have to include every piece of you, your history, to make you up. If you can explain your own existence without your parents, and you don't want them there, you can do that. But also, many people find their families valuable, and that becomes a very strong part of their DNA strand, spiritually. So do not just throw out your family, but maybe do a little collating and say, well, this is the one asshole who kept raping everybody, or this is the one asshole who raped grandma, and then grandpa got pissed and grandpa was shitty. So don't blame grandpa if it was like his cousin. Let's do some proper winnowing in our life. Don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater, and don't throw Jesus off the cross if he means something to you. But you need to get off the cross because he's doing it better. Buddha too. I sat under the Bodhi tree a lot. And I think anyone can sit there, including Newton. So we'll see you later.